Caffeine consumption is associated with better vascular health of bloody. New research indicates that caffeine consumption may improve health of blood vessels by supporting the regeneration of the endothelial. Scientists' findings highlight the potential benefits of caffeine consumption for people with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Diseases of blood vessels, constituting a subgroup of diseases cardiovascular, or damage to blood vessels, can lead to very much serious effects, such as heart attack or stroke. They are among the main causes of death in the world. In patients suffering from inflammatory diseases rheumatic, including lupus and rheumatoid arthritis, the risk is much higher. It results from both diseases and some methods the treatment. Doctors point out that when it comes to reducing risk, it is best to avoid the factors raising them, which should lead from limitation of inflammation. They recommend quitting smoking, lowering cholesterol levels or control of high blood pressure. However, scientists from the University of Sapienza in Rome believe that patients at risk may improve the health of their blood vessels, doing something that is really enjoyable. Results of them research that appeared in the journal Rheumatology suggests that caffeine, present in coffee or tea, actively helps the progenitor cells of the endothelial, the cell group, which help to regenerate the lining of blood vessels and take part in them. It's on the rise. It is well known that a diet rich in vitamin D, located in oily fish and eggs, and A, located in many fruits, and polyunsaturated fatty acids, and low in sodium, it seems play a role in reducing inflammation. Scientists have been wondering also if the caffeine will work here. In addition to the well-known action stimulant, caffeine also has anti-inflammatory effects. The researchers studied 31 patients with target goutier. Within the framework, the patients used a diet prepared by the researchers for 7 days, in which has been played by caffeine. After a week, the researchers took blood patients to check the condition of their blood vessels. By examining the number of cells, the endothelial, which forms an important inner layer of blood vessels, has been discovered. Patients who consumed caffeine had blood vessels in a better condition. This test is an attempt to provide patients information on the possible role of diet in controlling the disease, she said. Fulvia Seccarelli, the lead author of the publication. Confirmation will be needed. Results in further studies to assess the actual impact consumption of coffee on the course of the disease, she added. Can a low-calorie diet increase your life? Tips from a large study in mice. It has long been known that long-term calorie restriction extends life in laboratory animals. This effect was often attributed loss of weight and metabolic changes resulting from less food. However, in one from the largest animal studies to date, laboratory over dietary restrictions, researchers found that the mechanisms that work here are different and that a key role in life expectancy can play the immune system. Scientists have some data indicating that in case of lab animals, limiting the calories provided to them it can have a positive impact on their health and life expectancy. For example, in a mouse there is weight loss and improvement of metabolism. However, this does not explain the elongation life of animals. New research where health has been monitored and longevity of nearly 1,000 mice. Researchers at the Jackson Laboratory at Bar Harbor and Calico Life Sciences from San Francisco has shown that low-calorie diets or regular use fasting periods actually contribute to weight loss and change metabolic, which was not a special surprise. However, the researchers have established also that these are other factors, including the health of the immune system, genetics, and physiological indicators of immunity, seem to better explain the relationship between calorie restriction and longer life. Description and results of research appeared in the journal Nature. Annual studies on rodents and other animal species labs have shown that when they eat less, they live longer. Scientists wanted to know the mechanisms behind it. To this end, they have accumulated 960 specially selected for the genetic diversity of mice. The rods were divided into several smaller subgroups, which were fed various kinds of diet. Some were on a low-calorie diet and given only 60% or 80% of their primary calories each day. Other ones they forcibly used fasting for 1 or 2 consecutive days a week, but in the other days could eat as much as they wanted. Others could eat freely any amount of food at any time. The rodents were monitored by the rest of their lifetime by periodic blood tests and a detailed overall assessment the state of health. Studies have shown that 40% of calorie restriction the most prolonged the life of rodents. But hunger and less rigorous calorie restriction also increased life expectancy. What's more, at the all mice, except those who ate freely, were found to be beneficial metabolic changes such as reducing body fat and sugar levels in the blood. Lifetime of mice involved in experiments it formed like this: mice on an unlimited diet lived an average of 25 months, these fast-based fasting lived an average of 28 months, those who eat 80% of their calories of veins an average of 30 months, and those consuming 60% of the calories lived 34 months. Researchers also found that these are processes that go beyond metabolic regulation determines how the body responds to diets with a limited amount of calories. Besides, the effects of different diets on metabolism and longevity did not always occur at the same rate. To surprise researchers, mice on a low-calorie diet that lost the most weight, they had a weakened immune and reproductive system, low energy levels and a tendency to die at a younger age than animals on a diet low-calorie, they lost less. Scientists say the most important for life extension there were features related to immune system health and red function. It's the blood. The overall stress resistance associated with the key was also crucial. Reduced food intake, probably encoded in animal genes. The most resilient animals that lost on a low-calorie diet least on the weight and they retained immune functions, veins for the longest. The most durable animals kept their weight even in the face of stress and calorie restriction, and they lived the longest. This suggests that a more moderate level of calorie restriction may be a way to balancing health and life expectancy, said Gary Churchill, a geneticist of Jackson Laboratory, co-author of the study. A successful Starship missile test. The mechanical arms they intercepted the supporting module. The fifth test flight of the Starship rocket turned out to be huge. It's a success. For the first time we managed to catch the platform's mechanical arms launch rocket booster. The second stage of the rocket landed as planned in the Indian Ocean. The test took place on Sunday, October 13. Two-stage A rocket measuring more than 120 meters high has taken off from the base in Boca Chica in Texas. At an altitude of about 65 kilometers, the Super Heavy booster disconnected from Starship and safely returned to Earth. Mechanical shoulders of the tower, the starting one, referred to as Mechazilla, was caught by a booster for the first time. The upper the degree has risen to more than 140 kilometers and also safely he returned to Earth, landing in the Indian Ocean. It's a historic feat. First of all, because of a successful capture of the rocket booster. This bold maneuver is crucial for the introduction of reusable Starship rockets for flights, but it was also the first fully successful test flight. Previous Starship prototypes or they exploded or disintegrated when they re-entered the atmosphere. It is only the fourth test flight succeeded, but both stages of the rocket ended then testing in the ocean. In the fifth test, the rocket booster was caught. Huge of it, mechanical shoulders, named by SpaceX owner Elon Musk Mechazilla, has created a lot of excitement among space enthusiasts. The recording can see how the booster slowly falls, switches on the engines and directs it directly on the launch platform. Once it is within the range of the arms, these include it and they're closing. The upper stage of the rocket, or Starship, has entered again Earth's atmosphere and onboard cameras showed pink-purple plasma covering the ship side facing the Earth. This Starship website is covered 18,000 thermal insulation tiles that have been improved since last test in June when Starship completed his first full test flight in the Indian Ocean, but suffered damage to the tiles. Data from this flight will be used to tune the system starter for future tests. SpaceX says its engineers have spent years preparing and months testing of the attempt to catch rocket launcher and technicians have spent tens of thousands of hours on construction infrastructure to maximize the chances of success. Starship is a two-stage rocket. The first degree is Super Heavy booster, i.e. a supporting module. It has a height of over 70 meters and has 33 Raptor engines. The second is Starship, a spaceship. It is the largest and the most powerful rocket that was made. Together, both degrees are above height 120 meters. Rocket produces a thrust than Saturn V rocket developed by NASA for the Apollo mission. Starship plays a key role in the plans NASA, because it is on board that astronauts are to land on the moon within the Artemis 3 mission. Ultimately, both rocket steps are to be reusable. The whole rocket system is to operate similarly to the aircraft, which can be quickly refuel and resend into space, even several times a day. Dozens of massive stars ejected from a young cluster at a high speed. With The Gaia Observatory saw 55 massive stars ejected at high speed from their parent cluster stars R136, located in the Large Magellanic Cloud. This is the first time so many eating stars have been observed. The R136 star cluster is located about 160,000 years lights from the solar system. It's an active star-forming region containing hundreds of thousands of stars. Researchers saw some of them as massive stars, a mass up to 300 times the mass of the Sunday. In the observations saw that 55 were expelled from the region. The massive stars. The astronomers have determined, stars have been ejected in two series over the last 2 million years. Some of them move at a speed of over 100,000 kilometers to an hour. Scientists believe that these stars, because they have a large mass, they will end up as supernovae, leaving black holes or stars behind. It's neutron. They'll act like space bullets, exploding for 1,000 years lights from your parent cluster. Description and results of research appeared in the journal Nature. Behind the findings is a team of researchers from the University Amsterdam, University of Leiden and Radboud University under the direction Mitchell Stoop of the University of Amsterdam. Researchers used in their Gaia Observatory works that accurately monitor position and speed more than 1 billion stars. It has discovered 55 fast-moving stars ejected from the young star cluster R136, located in the Big Cloud Magellana, the Milky Way's satellite galaxy. But this is not the first scape-going stars noticed. New discovered stars increase tenfold the number of known objects of this type in this region. Moreover, 1/3 of this cluster was thrown out the most massive stars. According to the researchers, the stars were ejected in two periods. The first episode occurred 1.8 million years ago, when the cluster was formed. It matches the ejection of stars during the formation of the cluster. The second episode it took place only 200,000 years ago and had completely different features. For example, the small stars of this second episode move more slowly and are not thrown away in random directions, as in the first episode, but in the preferred direction, Stoop said. We think the second episode was due to the interaction of R136 from another nearby cluster that was only discovered in 2012. The second episode it may announce that two clusters will mix together in the nearby the future is noted by Alex de Coter from the University of Amsterdam, co-author of the publication. According to astronomers, stars will travel the distance to 1,000 light-years before they explode as supernovae at the end of their lives, forming a neutron star or a black hole. Massive stars during your life is extremely bright, even more than 1 million times brighter than the sun, and they emit mainly ultraviolet light, which ionizes the surrounding hydrogen gas. They live only for a short time, for stars, counted in millions of years, and they will usually explode in the region where they were born. This region of formation, the stars are made up of clouds of gas and dust that suppress the impact that massively the stars are exerting their surroundings. Now that we discovered that 1/3 of the massive stars is expelled from the regions of her births at an early stage of her life and that they exert their influence outside this area, the influence of massive stars on the structure and evolution of galaxies are probably much greater than it was previously thought. It is even possible that the escaped stars created in early universe made significant contributions to so-called rionization, a universe caused by ultraviolet light, said Lex Kapper of University of Amsterdam, co-author of publications. Scientists believe stars are being ejected from young clusters, stars like R136, which was formed according to an estimated 1.8 million years ago, when it gets too crowded in the star-forming region. Then the orbits of the birthed stars intersect and gravitational interactions cause them. The disorder may result in the blasting of stars from the young cluster. Taking breaks during exercise can significantly increase the energy expenditure. A team of researchers in recent studies has determined that climbing stairs in short series or walking with frequent stops, they use more energy than if they do without interruptions. Scientists have determined that climbing stairs or walking in short series, it uses 20% to 60% more energy than in the case of performing the same activity at the same distance without take breaks. These discoveries give a hint for those who want to burn more calorie. Instead of arduously following from start to finish, you should take breaks to rest. Behind the findings is a team of scientists from the University of Warsaw. It's Milan. The results of their work were published in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society B. Biological Sciences. As indicated by the authors of the research in the message, available reports on energy expenditures, They usually reflect the activities performed in metabolic balance, which is established only after some time performing exercises. Then the heart rate stabilizes, and production and energy consumption the body is balanced. Researchers wondered if they could occur differences in energy expenditures if they are often done during exercise breaks. To learn more about energy demand during various exercises, the researchers invited 10 healthy volunteers to study. They have asked theirs about walking on the treadmill or climbing the training stairs. During this time they measured their demand for oxygen and energy. These exercises included 3 different intensity levels, and sessions last from 10 seconds to 4 minutes. During exercise, the subjects wore masks to measure oxygen uptake, which it is a way of measuring energy consumption. Tests conducted on participants showed that walking or climbing stairs in 10 or 30-second sessions required 20 to 64% more oxygen than to cover the same distance in one session. Why and what is that what's happening? Researchers point out that mainly because walking is more efficient only after a few minutes of movement. When walking in short series, we use more energy and we use more oxygen to cover the same distance, he said. Francesco Luciano from the University of Milan, the first author of the study. It is as if the car was consuming more fuel during the first few kilometers driving than later, he added. During the session, scientists recorded how much oxygen it used each person and calculated his energy demand for this basis overcoming each meter. They found that volunteers used more energy if they repeatedly started the effort and stopped during it, in comparison to constantly perform the exercise. Scientists explain that the reason for this is that the body it consumes more energy when starting activity than when you reach balance. Only after a while the body begins to work more efficiently, but at the earliest exercise stages people are less efficient in converting oxygen and energy into its ineffective movement. It's improving when it gets up. Researchers suggest that people who want to get more out of their exercises should do many short sets of exercises, instead of continue them for a long time at a constant pace. When we start to practice, we bear some fixed costs at the beginning of the session, Luciano said. And we found that during the start after rest, a significant amount of oxygen is consumed, to start at all. We incur this cost regardless of whether we go through 10 or 30 seconds, he added. Work strengthens knowledge of short health benefits physical activities, especially for people who lead in large the measure of sedentary lifestyle. It can also explain the improvement in the condition they bring short series of activities, often lasting no more than 2 minutes each. Beyond the implications for healthy people, work can help develop programs rehabilitation and exercise tips for people with limited mobility, such as obese people or people after strokes. The first part of the map of the universe was released by the Euclid telescope. The European Space Agency published the first excerpt its Great Map of the Universe, showing millions of stars and galaxies. The mosaic of images was made by the Euclid. The aim is to explore the secrets of dark matter and dark energy. The Euclid telescope operates from the second point of Lagrange, from the same place where January 2022 is the James Webb Space Telescope. It has remained expanded into space in July last year. As part of his mission Euclid to map billions of galaxies and study how it formed and evolved our universe. It is to focus on the most mysterious ingredients, dark matter and dark energy. The International Congress in Milan astronautical scientists from the European Space Agency boasted the first piece of the Euclid telescope to map the universe. This 208-gigapixel mosaic of photographs was created from photographs taken during 260 observations in visible and infrared light that had the venue between March 25 and April 8. It represents tens of millions the stars in our galaxy the Milky Way and about 14 million distant the galaxies. Published mosaic is only 1% created by Euclid Observatory Map. During its 6-year mission, the telescope it will observe the shapes, distances, and motions of billions of galaxies within the radius up to 10 billion light-years away. In this way the largest will be created a 3-dimensional map of the universe. The first part of the map already contains about 100 million the sources. It's the stars in our Milky Way and those in galaxies outside of her. The distant galaxies on the map are about 14 million. This one the stunning picture is the first part of the map that in 6 years it will cover more than a third of the sky. That's only 1% of the map, and yet it's full of diverse sources that will help scientists discover new ways to describe the universe, he says. Valeria Petorino from the Euclid project at ESA. Sensitive cameras of the observatory captured a huge number of objects. This is in an unusual resolution. Looking at the mosaic, we can still see the complex structure of the galaxy clearly. Between the stars, that is bright spots, there are also light blue areas in the pictures. It is up to you clouds of gas and dust. We have already seen beautiful high-resolution images, individual objects and groups of objects from the Euclid mission. A new picture in the end gives us a foretaste of the vastity of the area of the sky, which will include Euclid. What it will enable us to make detailed measurements of billions of galaxies, says Jason Rhodes from NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Everything we can see in the world around us, stars, galaxies, flowers, and our bodies, are only 5% of the mass of the universe. This is called baryonic matter. Rest, according to leading theories cosmological, consists of two elements, dark matter and dark the energy. Their existence is inferred indirectly because the hypothetical ones, the substances, are invisible, do not emit and do not reflect radiation light, so it's very difficult to detect them. But their existence betrays gravitational effects. At least in this way scientists explain anomalies in the rotation of galaxies and the movement of galaxies in clusters. The visible matter there is not enough to be explained in these cases. The effects. Dark matter is believed to keep galaxies together and it acts as a glue that binds them. Dark energy, as the researchers believe, it accelerates the expansion of the universe. So leading cosmological theories treat dark matter as an element slowing the expansion of the universe and the dark energy as something that constantly accelerates it. However, despite years of searching, the existence of dark matter and energy has not been confirmed. Scientists they are still trying to figure out what their exact nature is. It has to change it. This is the Euclid mission. The Euclid telescope has a main mirror with a diameter of 1.2 m and is intended for observation in the band from the visible light to the near-infrared. It has a camera to recording of visible light, called VIS, near-infrared spectrometer, and a photometer for determining the redshift of detected galaxies, NISP. The observation area is to cover as many as 15,000 square degrees, i.e. above 1/3 of the entire sky. By comparison, the full moon takes up to the sky around 1/5 of the square degree. The VIS camera is one of the biggest ever. They were sent to space. Can take panoramic high photos, the resolution of a large region of the universe, dating back 10 billion years. Using from this data, astronomers will measure the shape of 2 billion galaxies. Observing the light from distant galaxies, it was curved by gravity of matter in the line of sight. The telescope intends to deduce a large-scale visible and dark distribution matter, more accurately than previously possible. Because the observation of distant galaxies allows us to go back in time, astronomers will be able to analyze how dark matter evolved. It is an insight into the interactions between dark matter, which binds galaxies together, and the dark energy, which pushes them away from each other. The Euclid telescope weighs 2 tons and its dimensions are 4.7 meters height and 3.5 meters wide. The mission is a huge project. The consortium that proposed it consists of more than 2,000 scientists and engineers from 15 countries. The cost of the mission is about 1.5 billion euros. The published mosaic is a foreshadowing of what it will bring the mission of Euclid. Since the start of routine scientific observations of the mission in February, so far, 12% of the map has been completed. Further publications of the telescope Euclid is expected in March 2025. Data from the first year of observation will be made available in 2026. The full resolution image can be seen on the ESA pages.